of learning and then not sort of learn anything after. So you find this in the CISP, CISA and CISM community. You'll also find it when people sort of read applied cryptography and then go implement their own crypto system. Other examples you find is that people will say, oh, you know, you need to review your logs, but they haven't reviewed them themselves. They go and review them, and they actually find out how crap the information is and how bad it is to try and correlate things. So, hence, that's where you get your SIMSAR. So, that's the talk. I apologise if it was a bit brief. The other one actually goes for a few hours and actually demonstrates a lot of the attacks. I just wanted to thank a few people before I finish. So Kyle for basically giving me the rego code. I do actually have your Ruxcon shirt here. Bruce and Heidi for allowing me to do the late registration because I travelled once my registration code was issued. And Greg's for putting me on too. So, oh, and I'd like to thank all the Shmoocon staff too because having worked on Ruxcon, I know how much effort goes into a conference. So, any questions or? Yep.
Besides CISP, what really is the qualification for a certified quality analyst or whatever they call it? Because I'm going behind so many intrusions where we passed, all of the, PCI crapola. How could we have gotten hacked? And I mean, they have consistently major obvious stuff, that the analyst didn't even look for.
That's the problem. The problem with the PCI Security Standards Council is you can still conform to the standard, and there's actually been a number of the breaches and people have actually proved that they've conformed. But the PCI Security Standards Council then, because it doesn't actually know what it's doing, then tries to push this thing and says, well, it's not really best practice, you've got to do this extra stuff. And you say, well, what's that extra stuff I've got to do? And they sort of can't really tell you, so you're sort of stuck.
But what's the qualifications of the auditors if the auditors are going in and saying you're compliant when, a script kiddie could get into the organization?
Compliance doesn't mean security.
Correct.
That's true, but what you're dealing with then is an economical problem, not a technical problem. There are attempts to sort of do a qualification. But what you generally find is that when the qualification becomes popular, it sort of loses its value. So you see that with sort of the MBA. OWASP have discussed launching a qualification, especially after IC Squared decided to launch their one at the New York conference in 2008. Having been a security manager for so many years, the main thing I actually do is not actually look at host logs, I actually look at network logs and drop big sort of packet sniffers around everywhere and then just correlate the traffic from there. You generally find it's after the fact, but that's really, you can't really prevent anything. It's sort of, I think it was Bill Cheswick who had the definition of security is you running faster than everyone else, so that's really all you can do. And just hire good lawyers too, because you always defeat the PCI Security Standards Council doing that.
One more question? Thanks. So that's all we have. Thanks everybody for coming, and hope to see you this evening.
Where do you want the slides?
Hmm?
Where do you want the slides?
Just, if you just want to put them on your notes, so you can obviously. Sure. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick.
Head out to the party, I think.
Bronx Brothers.
I'll see you there whenever we ready.
So you're saying that really there is no